This is BRICS Global Television Network's Daily Roundup. We begin with the headlines. It's election day in South Africa, the 7th general election since the dawn of democracy. Iran shifts focus to the elections to vote for a successor following the death of President Ebrahim Raisi. 4 people die from waterborne disease in Brazil's Rio Grande do Sul. 54 more cases have been identified. And Cristiano Ronaldo boasts, "I don't follow records, the records follow me," after breaking the record for the most goals in a Saudi Pro League season. Hello, I'm Juliette Newell. In South Africa, millions have flocked to voting stations to make their mark in one of the most crucial elections in the country's 30 years of democracy, with surveys suggesting these elections could result in the governing party, the African National Congress, losing the majority and could be forced to negotiate a coalition. The political landscape could look very different in the country after these elections. The ANC's governed the country since the 1994 elections. Its opposition parties, like the Democratic Alliance and the Economic Freedom Fighters, enjoy increasing support, and smaller, newer parties make their voices heard. Could these elections see a shift in leadership? The Independent Electoral Commission has 7 days to declare the final results. Traditionally, however, the results are usually announced 3 days after voting day, so that would be this Saturday. Our team was out and about today. BGTN's business anchor Ray White filed this report.
The leader of South Africa's opposition Democratic Alliance Party, John Steenhuisen, voted in the coastal city of Durban, joining millions of others across the country, voting in the most uncertain poll in decades.
I'm also mindful of the fact that no party in this election will receive an outright majority. And for the first time in 30 years, there's an opportunity for change in South Africa at a government level.
President Cyril Ramaphosa voted in Soweto in the South African general election as his governing ANC fights to retain its 30-year hold on power.
The people of South Africa will give the ANC, as they vote today, a firm majority. So in my mind, in my head and in my thought processes, there isn't even a doubt about that.
Julius Malema and his wife Bantoa Matlala cast their ballots at a primary school in Seshego in Limpopo province, and Herman Mashaba voted at the St. David's Marist Inanda School in Johannesburg.
First-time voter, also having voted right, and he says, "Mr. Mashaba, I voted for my future. I voted right because I want a bright future for myself and my family going forward." Thank you so much, and really we are not going to let you down.
Ray White, Johannesburg, South Africa.
Meanwhile, the African Union has sent an entourage of election observers to South Africa. The mission's being led by the former president of Kenya, Uhuru Kenyatta. The team of 60 observers includes AU member country ambassadors, officials from election management bodies, members of the African civil society organizations, and human rights specialists. BGTN South Africa correspondent Inga Mzileni has more.
The 60 AU election observers have been deployed across the country to offer accurate and impartial reporting of the elections, including whether the election was conducted in accordance with regional, continental and worldwide democratic election standards. The observers come from 24 African nations and have been interacting with state authorities, the Independent Electoral Commission, political parties and civil society groups. Any grievances of injustice from the parties will be reported. This is one of the country's most significant elections in 30 years of democracy, and it has the potential to plunge South Africa's democracy into unfamiliar territory. In 2019, the mission led by Jakaya Kikwete, who's former president of Tanzania, made a couple of recommendations for South Africa to boost, among other things, youth participation, and praised the country for encouraging the IEC's special voting initiative. Those elections were deemed fair, transparent, inclusive and credible. Now, former Kenyan President Uhuru Kenyatta, who is well known on the continent and has led peace initiatives in East Africa, is currently in charge of the 60 AU election observers dispersed across the country's results centers. We shall await their key conclusions and recommendations on the conduct of South Africa's closely contested election, and we will continue to observe and provide updates. For BGTN, I am Inga Mzileni in Sandton, Johannesburg, South Africa.
Staying with news from South Africa, the country's condemned Israel's strike on Rafah, calling it deplorable. Dozens of people taking refuge in a camp for those who've been displaced during the Israel-Hamas war have been killed. Palestinian officials have put the death toll at 45. The attack has sparked global outrage and an emergency meeting of the UN Security Council's been convened. South Africa's foreign ministry says the South African government joins the international community in condemning the deplorable and brutal attacks on innocent civilians after Israeli forces bombed a tent camp housing displaced Palestinians. The strike occurred just 2 days after the International Court of Justice ordered Israel to halt its military campaign in Rafah. This ruling came after South Africa accused Israel of committing genocide in Gaza. Israel's rejected the court's decision, claiming it was erroneous. South Africa's foreign ministry, responding to that court ruling, said, "What we are witnessing today bears testimony to South Africa's assertions." Israel's Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu described the strike as a tragic accident, but affirmed the continuation of the military campaign against Hamas following the October 7th attack. He also pledged to secure the release of all hostages. The war on Gaza was launched immediately after Hamas launched a surprise attack on Israel, killing more than 1,100 people and taking 252 hostages. The latest reports indicate 121 hostages are still being held in Gaza, 37 of whom are believed to have been killed. Israel's retaliatory offensive has killed more than 36,000 people in Gaza, mostly women and children. That's according to the Hamas-run territory's health ministry. Meanwhile, China's joined the chorus of international condemnation of Israel's military operations in Rafah, expressing grave concern. Beijing has urged all parties to protect civilians and civilian facilities and strongly urges Israel to listen to the appeals of the international community and to stop its attacks on Rafah. China, supportive of a two-state solution to the Israeli-Palestinian conflict, has historically been sympathetic to the Palestinian cause and has, since the start of the war in October last year, been calling for an immediate ceasefire. In Iran, following the death of President Ibrahim Raisi in a recent helicopter crash, the focus now shifts to the upcoming June 28th election for his successor. Raisi, an ultra-conservative with over a year left in his term, perished in the May 19th crash alongside his foreign minister and 6 others. Conservatives aim to appoint a loyalist to Supreme Leader Ayatollah Ali Khamenei. The lead-up to the vote has attracted candidates from various parties, raising questions about the vetting process in the Islamic Republic. Economic challenges persist due to imposed sanctions, post-US withdrawal from the 2015 nuclear deal and anti-government protests. Khamenei appointed Mohammad Mokbar as the interim president, with speculations of his candidacy. Notable contenders include former nuclear negotiator Saeed Jalili, moderate Mohammad Javad Zarif, and centrist Ali Larijani. Former President Mahmoud Ahmadinejad's candidacy remains uncertain, pending country developments. To Rio Grande do Sul in Brazil, where 4 people have died after contracting leptospirosis. 54 more cases have been confirmed. The disease is transmitted through water contaminated with infected animals' urine, like rats. The southern state was battered by heavy rains in recent weeks, triggering landslides and heavy flooding. At least 165 people have lost their lives and hundreds of thousands displaced. And as the 469 municipalities in Rio Grande do Sul set out to rebuild what was lost or damaged in the floods, many areas are still underwater, raising concerns from health authorities. The state's health department has issued a statement warning residents of the dangers of floodwater mixed with sewage, including the spread of diseases like hepatitis A and leptospirosis. There are 800 suspected cases of leptospirosis, with patients showing symptoms that include fever, muscle aches, nausea, followed by vomiting. Recovery and rescue efforts are ongoing, and as floodwaters recede, the full extent of the damage in Brazil's southernmost state is being revealed. In Mizoram state in India, 12 people have died after a quarry collapsed as a result of torrential rains following a powerful cyclone. Rescue operations are ongoing, but heavy rains are hampering efforts to find victims. Mizoram has promised compensation for the victims' families, attributing the landslide to Cyclone Remal. Meanwhile, Indian President Draupadi Murmu has expressed solidarity on social media, wishing success for rescue efforts and a swift recovery of the injured. The cyclone's aftermath disrupted highways and closed schools in Mizoram, with warnings of continued heavy rainfall across northeastern states. Coming up, BRICS Plus Business News.
Round three. Let's go. Right hand on three for super.
I'm Ava. I think you should watch BGTN TV because it's the best. I'm glad you didn't knock that over. I'm Ava. I think, no. Hi. It's the best. Because it's the best. Because it's the best. Because it's the best.
How do you argue with that? BRICS Global Television, it is the best.
In China, Shanghai's eased property purchasing regulations as part of a nationwide effort to address a lingering real estate crisis impacting China's economy. Originally imposed over a decade ago to curb price hikes and speculation, these restrictions are being reversed due to economic challenges such as developer debt, declining demand and falling prices. Shanghai, China's largest and wealthiest city, has reduced the residency requirement for property buyers from 5 years to 3 and has lowered the minimum down payment for commercial housing mortgages to 20%. Families with 2 or more children are now permitted to buy additional homes. Similar measures have been implemented in other major cities like Hangzhou and Xi'an, targeting first-time buyers. Staying in China, reports indicate a notable decrease in carbon dioxide emissions in March, marking the first decline since the reopening of its economy post-pandemic restrictions. This drop suggests a potential peak in emissions, driven by factors like the expansion of renewable energy capacity and a downturn in construction activity. Despite a slight increase in emissions for the quarter, the March figures indicate a significant shift in emission trends, with renewables covering a substantial portion of new energy demand. While the growth of renewable energy installations is promising, challenges remain, including grid access constraints. China's emission trajectory remains uncertain, with ongoing debates over the pace of renewable energy adoption and concerns about continued investment in coal. And Chinese social media platforms have blocked several influencers renowned for flaunting opulent lifestyles, following an official crackdown on ostentatious displays of wealth online. Wang Hongquan, known for showcasing designer clothing, luxury travel, and a collection of jade jewelry to over 4 million followers on social media, found his account inaccessible this week due to violations of community guidelines. China's internet watchdog initiated the Clear and Bright campaign in April to purge undesirable content, targeting influencers who promote extravagant lifestyles, catering to what has been termed as vulgar desires. Similarly, Sister Abalone and Young Master Bo, known for showcasing lavish mansions and luxury purchases, have also faced account blocks. China's government, aiming to combat money worship and vulgar content, has tightened regulations on social media celebrities, aligning with President Xi Jinping's initiative to address economic inequality, resulting in hefty fines for violators, like live streaming mogul Via, who was fined $204 million for tax evasion in 2021. Coming up, BRICS Plus Sport with Yolanda Pondo.
For many, dance in Africa is a rich cultural expression, serving various purposes like entertainment and religious rituals. However, over thousands of years, dance in Africa has been used as a secret way to communicate, sometimes during birth and death, frequently to each other, and at times directly to the gods.
Hello, I'm Yolanda Pondo with your BRICS Plus Sports Update. In Saudi Arabia, Cristiano Ronaldo has set a new record for the most goals in a Saudi Pro League season, netting his 34th and 35th goals during Al Nassr's final match of the campaign. Following the game, the 39-year-old Portuguese forward tweeted, "I don't follow the records follow me." Ronaldo, a former Real Madrid and Manchester United star, scored before halftime and again in the 69th minute with the header as Al Nassr defeated Al Ittihad 4-2 at home on Monday. The previous record of 34 goals in a single season was held by Moroccan Abderrazak Hamdallah in 2018 to 2019. Despite Al Nassr's second-place finish, trailing champions Al Hilal by 14 points, Ronaldo's performance was remarkable. Joining Al Nassr in December 2022, amidst a wave of foreign players signing lucrative contracts, Ronaldo continues to excel, earning a spot in Portugal's squad for the upcoming Euros, marking his 11th international tournament. He remains the most capped player in men's international football, boasting 206 appearances and a record 128 goals. Cricket fans are in for a treat with the 2024 T20 World Cup coming up this weekend. India and South Africa, both BRICS Plus members, will compete against 6 other nations: England, Pakistan, New Zealand, Australia, the Netherlands and Sri Lanka. Our BGTN sports correspondent Ben Ricozzo takes a look.
He's hit that very well.
The 2024 Cricket T20's Men's World Cup will see the first ball being bowled on the 1st of June. This is where the co-host USA go up against their neighbors, Canada. The first match will be taking place at the Grand Prairie Stadium in Dallas, Texas. US will be witnessing the finals going down in Barbados at the Bridgetown.
This time though,
BRICS and an African representative in the T20 World Cup, South Africa, will open their group stage match against Sri Lanka. And cricket lovers and fans all over the world are expecting a barnstorming performance at Nassau County International Cricket Stadium in New York on the 3rd of June. Cricket fever will be at its peak on the 9th of June as the much anticipated clash between India and Pakistan take place at the same venue.
And gets it. 600 for KL Rahul in one-day international cricket. He got the opportunity because of the spasm to Shreyas Iyer and grabs it.
But if you ask me, who will win the T20 World Cup, I will say the West Indies. Bearing in mind that there are great countries like New Zealand, England and Australia who can spoil the party at any given moment.
And he might have done it as well. 5 times 50 over men's World Cup champions, a team that can never ever be written off. And they've finally got their hands on a men's T20 World Cup trophy, and it is richly deserved.
For BGTN Sport, I am Ben Ricotso.
And Chinese swimmer Sun Yang, the 3-time Olympic champion, aims to resume competitive swimming following the conclusion this week of his more than 4-year ban for a doping violation. Originally suspended for 8 years by the World Anti-Doping Agency in 2020 for tampering with blood samples during a 2018 test, Sun disputed the circumstances. However, the Court of Arbitration for Sport reduced the ban to 4 years and 3 months in 2021. Sun expressed his desire to return to competition swiftly, stating, "I hope that I'll be able to pick a competition and return to the starting block as soon as possible." His comeback coincides with increased scrutiny on China's swimmers after WADA permitted 23 of them to participate in the 2021 Tokyo Olympics, despite testing positive for banned substances. WADA accepted China's explanation that the swimmers unknowingly ingested the substance through food at their hotel. That's your BRICS Plus Sports update for today. I'll be back again tomorrow with more.
"22 Seconds" came about. I've been working on human trafficking stories recently. I've been doing documentaries. It was just like, are we doing enough? It was a campaign that was, let's challenge ourselves, let's get it out there, let's try and reach as much people as possible.
130 people are trafficked all around the world per hour. So every 22 seconds, someone is being trafficked. 22 seconds could be your walk from a school gate inside the school. It could be your walk from your house to the bus station. It's just a short distance.
This campaign is a campaign that is set to raise awareness, to show the severity of this crime that's happening around us. I'm hoping that it will get society to speak about it. It will get communities, governments and organizations to come together and tackle this. I'm hoping that it will get the young girl, the young boy to understand the dangers that we live around.
And we're speaking to schools so that children are also aware of this. Teachers are aware, because also teachers play a vital role into seeing kids that they teach that this child was not like this. The campaign is running for a month, but that's not where our work will end. We will continue campaigning and we will continue moving towards our goal of getting 22 million signatures.
You can share the campaign firstly on social media using the hashtags 22 seconds not for sale, hashtag 22 seconds empower change, because we are empowering change. Please sign the petition. The whole idea also behind the petition is that once we reach 22 million signatures, we will take it to the UN.
It is up to us to raise awareness and show human trafficking that it has no place in our society.
And finally, waste collection in South Africa is being helped along through the entrepreneurial efforts of individuals who collect, sort and then sell various items picked from waste collection points. BGTN reporter Lebo Masike takes a closer look at what the work entails and how trash is turned into cash.
Johannesburg, the heartbeat of South Africa. Amidst the hustle and bustle, there's a community that turns the city's waste into wealth. Meet the waste collectors, individuals who see value where others see trash. It's a meticulous process. Sorting through heaps of trash, they separate materials that can be sold to recycling companies. But this work comes with immense challenges. Health risks, societal stigma, and inadequate support make it a constant struggle. Despite the hardships, there's hope. Many waste pickers dream of better futures for themselves and their families.
I used to hustle by collecting waste in KZN, but moved to Joburg because they used to laugh at us for collecting waste. After 2 years of being in Joburg, I started with my hustle again.
It actually started when I lost job. I couldn't get employed and I was looking for a job opportunity and I had a family to look after. And that's when I saw some number of people surviving, pulling trolleys. I started as a trolley puller and I joined them there. I grew up my business. I started buying my first vehicle. I bought my second vehicle, my third vehicle from collecting waste, and I'm feeding my family.
Waste collectors play a crucial role in our recycling chain. Without them, much of this material would end up in landfills, adding to environmental problems. Beyond the hard work, there's a strong sense of community. Organizations such as Waste Aid collaborates with waste collectors to improve waste management systems, enhance recycling efforts, and provide better livelihoods for those involved in the informal waste sector.
It takes a long period of time to get towards success, but the success story is that particularly in Diepsloot, within this closed ecosystem, last year we onboarded 20 wastepreneurs who went through 3 months training and their mentorship ahead of pitching for resources. And because of that, revisiting their work on site in communities, we've seen a growth in collection of tonnage of waste across waste streams and changing perceptions of people in community. You know, there's a perception that waste collectors just are on the streets, can't make a living. But when they have formalized to some degree, or at least organized themselves, their income increases because their tonnage increases and human behavior within the community changes as well.
In a world where waste is often overlooked, these men and women remind us of the value hidden within. They turn trash into cash, and in doing so, they turn struggle into survival, and survival into hope. Lebo Masike, BGTN, Johannesburg, South Africa.
And that's a wrap of today's news. We're back again tomorrow with a roundup of stories from BRICS Plus countries. Until then, visit our website and social media for updates.